not exposing the vulnerabilities women face.
You have to go to an occasion and people will be like, okay, look at this scary lady coming up, and it was so devastating for me at that time. And I just feel like, okay, if this is how the situation is going to be, then I have to accept myself. I have to embrace what I am.
It's about being ready to speak out for our own rights.
If you see a nice girl, then the assumption is that she enticed the man. What was she wearing? My dear, it does not matter what a young girl is wearing. It is not enough grounds for you to rape the girl.
We are always striving to reach the top, no matter what.
Every woman must know that she has a deep-seated strength. That strength that can put her over every hurdle. And that strength should actually encourage you to do more than you think you can do.
We are frank about who we are.
We all have something, no matter where you find yourself. Let somebody remember you for something good, because you need to put yourself on the line, because some people have done it so that you can go to school, so you can have a voice, just to make sure that women's voices could be heard.
And in today's world, we do have a say.
Actually, they are dead drunk. We do have a voice. With that voice, we can change the world. With that voice, we can take command of our broken communities.
Women's Voice, weekdays on GBC 24 at 4 p.m. and on Mondays on GTV at 4 p.m. Women's Voice, articulating the issues affecting women and sharing their unique stories with the rest of the world. Hello, many thanks for joining us. This is Women's Voice. My name is Selikema Kolachiapalu. Today on the program, we're looking at habits that facilitate corporate success. Well, only a few weeks ago, we looked at developing the mindset for success, but we're taking it a step further, looking at habits that facilitate success as we enter into a new year, and we help you to shape up your ideas for achieving success in whichever area you'd like to in this year. So achieving success doesn't come easy, we're told. And of course, there are certain specific attitudes and behaviors that one needs to cultivate in order to excel, especially in business and in the corporate world. Today on the show, we are going to be looking at some of those habits and how we can begin to incorporate them as attitudes as we move ahead. To discuss this subject, I have in the studio a certified professional trainer, brands expert, transformational coach, and author who has a number of books to his credit, including Branding 360, The Corporate Christian Model, among others. He is lead facilitator for Zoe Global Consult, a human capital firm, and was listed in the most influential young Ghanaians in 2015 and 2016, and a nominee for the African Youth Award 2016. My guest is Scofray Nanayao Yeboah. Scofray, welcome back.
Thank you.
To our studios.
Good to be back.
Right. So we're still talking about success, but this time we're looking at success in the corporate world. Anybody doing business, entrepreneurship, anybody who wants to excel in their career or job. But why are we talking about habits in the first place?
A very good evening to your cherished viewers, and I know there are a couple of friends overseas who inboxed and said that today we're going to watch you live, so I'm hoping that it's indeed going live for them to watch via Facebook, and few friends Eastern Connect, they're watching, they're supporting their president. And
Indeed, we are on Facebook live at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Women's Voice, we are there live.
Thank you. You remember 2 weeks ago we were looking at things, mindsets that facilitate success, and we said that there are two forms of mindset. One that is the growth mindset, the growth mentality, and the fixed mentality. Either of these two will give you certain results, but one is retrogression and one is progressive. So to have the growth mindset, we broke it down into the areas where we say that you have the cognitive aspect of why you must do what you do. You have the emotional aspect, then you have the behavioral. So it is out of these behaviorals that we want to look at habits. The actions and inactions, the voluntary thought and things you do, things that you don't pay attention to, so that you can look at this year. You are not going to set big milestones. No, you are not going to give, I say, these people say set goals, like giving ordinary ambition life and shape. That is basically goals. Giving ordinary ambitions life and shape. That is the ordinary in there, giving it life, that ambition, that ordinary one. If you make it so big, it sometimes terrifies you. But the little things that you need to do, because your success, your individual success in teams facilitate your confidence wanting to give off more. Your confidence want to feel, I'm proud of myself having done this with my team to achieve that. The confidence that maybe through your department, your contribution, something great happened and your company rose above a certain pedestal. All these will come out from little habits, because your mindset triggers certain aspects and certain actions of you, and when you keep on repeat them, in that repetition create habits, create your character, create attitudes. So we want to look at some of the things that we want to pay attention to in this year, so that you can change, or you can set yourself such a way that, okay, I did not do this well, I did not do that well. You want to create a certain shift. Like we said the last time, you need to have a certain shift to be able to achieve what you want to set yourself doing. Your company will have its national goal that they want to meet. You will need to personalize it. It is very, very, very important that every employee of any establishment, as even an entrepreneur, if you set the business goal, if you set the business target, if you set the business bar, if you don't personalize it, it will frustrate you when it meets challenges.
What do we mean by personalizing business goals?
When we say personalize something, that is in emotional intelligence, we will say learn to be in the shoes of the person. Learn to be in the shoes of the person. So in personalizing, what I'm trying to put across is that you don't carry the whole theme. There is an aspect of your department that dovetails into the national agenda. So that is the part that you can give it your all and say, to achieve A, B, C, D, my department's role is defined as this. There is a responsibility, your individual responsibility per your career, that you will need to function such a way that the holistic goal, the holistic target can be achieved. So you will need to personalize it. You know, we have a typical culture where we say, for instance, abejuma de abejuma. That cliche. It is
translates in English so that those of our audience.
We have this cliche. We say, government job or public service is not your father's property, so you shouldn't kill yourself in pursuit of it. It is the moment you pour that thing out there, because it has come out of you. Sadly, that's what the brain does. Whatever you are doing, the brain records it for it to be played out, and you think that suddenly your behavior just started. No, there are things that you've poured out there, like I said, mindset. The happenings, your words, your attitude, your actions forms those sets, and it gets recorded and it will be played out for you. So when you say public service is not your dad's property, so why should you give off your best in its pursuit? You have said to your brain that don't give off your best. And the moment don't give your best sets in, your brain is going to give you reasons why you don't need to give off your best. When those reasons and excuses are established, then certain attitude, which is the actions and inactions, that becomes your behavior, start playing out. Then you realize that you don't feel like going to work early anymore. When you are giving query to, you don't get angry and say that, but the whole of last year I tried, so why should you? So you realize that you begin to find reason and excuse to everything, minus being accountable, minus being responsible for what is playing out.
Right, and we do appreciate our audience who are trying to get in touch with us on the platform. But do note that you can only send us a text message or a WhatsApp message. However, we cannot pick in your calls. So I've seen your calls coming in. Just send us a text message or a WhatsApp message. The number is up on your screen, 0245 780-116. It's up on your screen. If you want to contribute, you have a question to ask, just do that.
So one of the things I will encourage for us to do as individuals in our corporate endeavors is what we call processing your life. I'm not talking about putting your whole life into a machinery for it to be processed from cassava into cassava dough then into gari. No, that's not what I'm talking about. You don't need to go through any silverware to become serene. What I'm talking about is be honest to assess your past life, the year that just went away. That honesty comes where you can say what really worked versus what did not work. And being honest, having the courage to accept and admit where you were responsible, where you were accountable, so that certain actions that took you to make those decisions, you will not repeat them. The ones that were very positive, encouraging, you want to look at the life cycle and look at what did you do right, how did you go about them, that you were able to get these results, that at the end of the day you were given the best worker award, you were given the best supervisor, you were tapped on the shoulder that as for this year you did well, even when there was no public proclamation of what you did. At least somebody might have patted you on your shoulder in the department, or perhaps your department did so well that you were able to. So you must process that aspect. What frame of mind were you in before you were able to achieve all these? What were the actions you took to be able to come this far? So it is a double-edged sword. What worked and what did not work? Then there is something we call agency and desperation. We live our lives. The desperation part is what is very annoying. You oversleep, or you watch movie till 1 a.m. Check this pattern. You follow the channels and watch movie till 1 a.m. By 4:30 you should wake up. Your brain is still not relaxed enough. So when you wake up, there is still sleep. Sometimes it would get up to about 10 a.m. before you actually get awakened, like you properly come to life. So you have lost the first 2 hours of your prime working moment. So you must choose between what is urgent versus what is desperate for you to get done. Agency brings you the results that will give you an outcome that is desirable. Desperation can cause you to fumble. Desperation is, you know that there were things you should have done that you failed to do, so you made certain choices that is now affecting your input and output. So now you get desperate to get the results, and when you put the brain through such moments, it will fail you.
What should you do instead of getting desperate or getting to the point of desperation?
You must identify what is your needs per your work as against wants for your leisure. Know the right time to enjoy your leisure. That is just a want. But what is needful is, like I said, if you know you have to sleep at 10 p.m. so that by 4 a.m. you would have gotten some about 6 to 7 hours sleep, which is scientifically proven that every adult needs to allow the brain to rest at a particular minimum level, then you will not put yourself through the path of desperation, because when it gets to 4:30 and your alarm rings and your body still needs that sleep, and you think that you want to do that short 10 minutes in addition before you realize 6 a.m. 6 a.m. the moment you see the time at 6 a.m. your heart begins to beat at a very fast rate, because suddenly you identify that there's going to be traffic, because 6 a.m. you are late, and you know perhaps the office key is with you, you know there is a client you're supposed to meet at a certain point. All this comes, then you get desperate, you begin to perspire, you begin to worry. So why don't you put your life in a needful perspective and put in measure that will help you?
So you're talking about planning ahead.
Planning ahead.
How do you get planning ahead to become a habit and a part of you?
Assess your life to know what is needful. Is it your career? Is it an upgrade? Is there specific professional tools you need? So when you plan your life for the year, starting from November, the past year. You must forecast. Perhaps you are carrying a baby at that particular moment,
right.
So you forecast into the month and know when you're even going to give birth, when you are, and when your maternity leave starts. So you begin to put measures in place so that you don't put so much pressure on yourself. So your want does not become your needs. Let your needs become absolute needs and your want become absolute want. But when you don't plan it out, like the way I've just put together to put to bear a pregnant woman, you need to factor into it. Are there some things you can do extra so that you don't put pressure on yourself when you get to the office? Are there certain negotiations you will need to have with your colleagues so that some of the burden of your tax? But if you're somebody who have a bad relationship in your team, you cannot go and ask for those favors. So you realize that. So in planning your life for a year, check, like I said, process your life, your personal relationships, your communication. Have you been there for others? Empathy. Has there been times where you empathize with people in your office? Were you the type that every time you are the ringleader to ask for this has not done? So when it gets to your point, nobody is there to support you. So plan your life first. You must understand what you achieve, what you couldn't, what you could do. Look into the year. That is aside your national company's plan, because until you plan very well a bit for your life, when urgency sets in, it turns to desperation because you have not laid any foundation. You have not prepared for anything. The other thing, assuming you are a guy, you want to go back to school, you can only do evening classes, you can only do evening schooling, you can only do weekend schooling. It means that it's going to shift your plan and programs. That involves weekends. That involves that if you have to close early from work, you will need to seek permission. But remember, if you want to leave early, you must double tax yourself, so that what you're supposed to do in the day, you make sure that you squeeze and get it done. That is risk taken. That is sacrifice, going through the survival phases to get something you want. If you don't plan, if you don't factor the foreseen and unforeseen and focus it into the year, you will always be caught ball watching. Then you might think somebody that is not like you. Painful thing about such attitude is this: it causes you to get angry easily. When the spirit sets in, you become very intolerant, and during those your moment of intolerance, you might have used unprintable words on certain people in your office, that when you are finally settled, now they begin to pick the beef with you, and for you will be expecting them, oh, tell her, let it go, I didn't know. But don't forget, words that pierces through the heart goes right through the limbic system. That looks at head, and we will correlate it with a certain action that you put together. So anytime I see that your red tie, on that day you were in red tie and you gave it to me like that, I remember that day and I become moody. So then naturally the team wouldn't gel and you wouldn't get the output you're looking for. And if it goes a long way to affect the national agenda, then your salary, your bonuses, what you deserve to end the year wouldn't come. So focusing into the year, building these little habits that we take them for granted, is what will cause us not to be able to achieve what we look for. Because it is very important. Factor your health, leisure, family, spiritual development in your endeavors. So when you are forecasting into the year, your spiritual growth, your health, your leisure. Oh, me, I don't have any social time. Me, my life is all about this. When people get heart attacks, they think that they just came out of the vacuum. No.
So in other words, are you saying we should plan our days as well, or how to use our time management? Time management is part of the discipline of forecasting your year. It's part of the discipline. It's part of the things that you need to. It's the little habit you must alter, so that you, like I have given the example of sleeping, that your sleeping pattern, sleeping time. If you don't sleep right, your brain will also fail to function right. And when it fails you to function right, there's a certain output that you are going to get. And when it is put through KPIs and you don't measure, what happens to you? Right. Now you talked about the scenario where people complain that they don't have time. So how do you work on taking time off?
There are things that zaps your time. There are things that we deliberately allow it to zap our time. You go to the office in the morning You could not do your quiet time because you don't wake up in the house very early. So you want to have your quiet time in the office, 8 a.m. Then people come and queue in front of your door, and you are still having your 30 minutes stuff. It packs up, so you see document piled up in front of you. Perhaps that night because you did not sleep well, you are intemperate. And today why is the file so plenty? Perhaps it's the same thing like 3 days ago, but because your brain is not relaxed, it sees it voluminous. Then you become intemperate. So before you realize, you will go through a day without achieving anything substantial.
But is it not so that indeed there are people who, whose time is almost always used up with so much? Corporate people in the corporate world, business entrepreneurs, business people are very swamped with a lot of activities during the day, that there's no time to take time off and then just have some time to relax.
But nobody has denied him or herself time to sleep, time to bath, time to eat, time to make love, time to give attention to things. So if you don't prioritize your life, if you don't build trust with the people you work with so that you can easily delegate, so you are the architect of the reason why you say you don't have time.
How do you find the time?
By analyzing your life and the processes. By analyzing your life and processes. There are times I get so busy that I say to myself, okay, then this particular time in the month or that particular time in the following month, I want to stay at home just to make time for the kids. Because when I look at the past, I could not factor them into the planning. Then in the subsequent month, I want to factor them into the planning.
Why is leisure, for instance, important? Leisure time or taking time off important to success in your corporate life?
In one of my submissions, I mentioned something called the limbic system. It is the part of the human brain that deals with our emotions, how we feel. And it is so powerful a thing to be able to stimulate the part of your limbic system that will give you certain refreshment. That will aid you to distress. When you say you're going to distress, it is not the cognitive brain or cognitive part of your brain that does the distress. It is the limbic part of you. Look at things that causes you to be a bit happy, things that brings you less stress, activities that you do and you don't want to get tired doing them. People you want to spend time with, and you know that moment nothing can come between, nothing that takes, logical reasoning consumes energy.
Right.
Logical reason, any activity that causes you to think consumes energy. So you will want to look for situations and scenarios and moments and times that will not zap energy but will boost your energy, because a part of you is excited. So if you want to distress, you look for things that stimulate a certain level of excitement in you. So you need to create that part of your leisure, even if it is sleeping soundly. Create that space for you to give yourself that pampering. I keep telling my friends, pamper yourself. Find things. If one day you want to boil egg and you can eat 3 eggs at a go, boil those 3 eggs and eat them at a go and enjoy yourself. If it is spend quality time with your lovey, spend that quality time. If it is to visit the movie, to the things that you do that stimulate you, if it is listen to certain unique songs, I have certain songs I listen to. One of them that I tell people that when you listen to Enya's series of instrumentals stimulate you in a certain way. That is what works for me. Perhaps somebody's own will be Kirk Franklin. Somebody's own will be somebody else. Somebody's will be movie. Somebody else will be spending time with the Jolly as I already mentioned. Somebody's own could be even giving your children certain time. When you deny yourself that you don't have time for everything, time will not also make room for anything for you.
Since we are talking about time, we know that here in this country we have issues with time consciousness. How does that contribute to the habits that will keep you successful within the corporate world?
I don't know if we've been able to do a thorough quantitative analysis of how time has cost this nation. I've not seen any research yet. But if we are going to be honest citizens this evening through this discussion, you realize that when you delay on something, like in a chain of command, when you delay, when you don't come to work early as it is expected of you, somebody's document is lying on your table that needs to be signed. So your boss will be expecting that you are late. So by the time you send it, something has cropped in, or there's a meeting that have come up, another delay has toppled it, so it's the following day. Perhaps that person needed that document to be signed for a certain loan, a certain money, and to invest into a project that is time bound. But because of your silly selfishness and greed, your soul selfishness and greed and soul comfort of want, a certain amount of something has delayed. Perhaps it is the construction of the road that leads to your mother's village, and it happens that between that space of 3 months that you delayed, it has caused it to delay for about 6 months. Your mother gets sick, your brother's wife takes it and times for delivery, and they say the roads are so bad. She goes, never comes back, there's no baby. Until we see that our bad attitude towards time creates these scenarios, until we quantify them in monetary terms, until we quantify them in the loss of lives, then we will see the reality. Then we come to appreciate the reality of time management. Because if you don't put it into that quantitative terms, you will not appreciate it.
How would it affect you in the corporate world if you don't manage your time well?
We all have KPIs. Attitude and behaviorals and mindset are part of the things that they use to measure your input on the job. If you are constantly late to any meeting, when it is time for promotion, somebody who has the same qualification as you, but perhaps you would have spent more years in that same company, will be lifted above you. And that is when the complaint begins. What will be sad is when the MD and the board are of a particular tribe, and that person whose KPI has been met over a period of years is lifted. Because they come from the same hometown, they've skipped me. But when they audit your output and input, you are found wanting, and then you expect that they should understand the excuses you have propounded all this while. You don't care. The time that you have to come to work, you want to go and pray.
Right. We do understand that successful people, especially in the corporate world, also are the risk takers. I'd like to have your take on that when we return from this break. I'd like to let our viewers that you cannot call on this line. You can only send us text messages or WhatsApp messages. I've seen some coming in. If you want us to respond to whatever it is you have, just send us a text or a WhatsApp message and then we read it out. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we are looking at habits that facilitate success in the corporate world. My guest is transformational coach and author Scofray Nana Yeboah. We'll take a short break. When we return, the conversation will continue. Keep watching.
It's about exposing the vulnerabilities women face.
You have to go to an occasion and people will be like, okay, look at this scary lady coming up, and it was so devastating for me at that time. And I just feel like, okay, if this is how the situation is going to be, then I have to accept myself. I have to embrace what I am.
It's about being ready to speak out for our own rights.
If you see a nice girl, then the assumption is that she enticed the man. What was she wearing? My dear, it does not matter what a young girl is wearing. It is not enough grounds for you to rape the girl.
We are always striving to reach the top, no matter what.
Every woman must know that she has a deep-seated strength. That strength that can put her over every hurdle. And that strength should actually encourage you to do more than you think you can do.
We are frank about who we are.
We all have something. No matter where you find yourself, let somebody remember you for something good, because you need to put yourself on the line, because some people have done it so that you can go to school, so you can have a voice, just to make sure that women's voices could be heard.
And in today's world, we do have a say.
Actually, they are dead drunk. We do have a voice. With that voice, we can change the world. With that voice, we can take command of our broken communities.
Women's Voice, weekdays on GBC 24 at 4 p.m. and on Mondays on GTV at 4 p.m. Women's Voice, articulating the issues affecting women and sharing their unique stories with the rest of the world.
On the program, we're looking at habits that facilitate success. My guest in the studio, Scofray Nanaya Yoboa, is an author and a transformational coach and personal development trainer. I was asking before we took the break, we're told that successful people, especially in the corporate world, are people who are able to take risks. What has that habit got to do with success?
When research was conducted on successful people, in the area of mindset,
Right.
those who have that growth attitude or the growth mentality also have that penchant of being risk takers. They are able, even if not anything at all, be a moderate risk taker. You go into a company and the one that is the most senior most is also the one with the least certificate. Because the person has lived in his or her comfort zone for a very long time, he or she does not see how detrimental it is for him not to upgrade, because there is the fear, the phobia, and when that phobia is in, it will cause you not to take steps. So shifting from that point to the other becomes risk that you are taking. So in being able to be successful, remember that you cannot live in your comfort zone and still expect other things to happen unto you. So you need to move out of that box and explore.
Right.
So that is what makes it very critical. For instance, I said that read wide but learn specifics. It's a risk, a strong risk. Deciding to then that comes to life changes. What do you read, even on your WhatsApp and your social media stuff? What do you read when somebody posts something about something intellectually inclined? Do you even spend that little time to click on that link to go and read what is it about, compared to a scandal, a pornographic scandal, compared to something sensational, and you are clicking. So if you check, for instance, even on social media, it gets to a point where Facebook gives you your kind of thinking adverts. Your kind, the mentality, the things the algorithm sees you always checking, it starts giving you similar kind of stuff. So when you start seeing a lot of junk coming to you, don't be surprised. It is what you have activated. So if you want to shift your way of thinking and reasoning, you need to take that risk. Perhaps your risk is time management, like something we have just discussed.
Right.
Perhaps that risk is time management. Learn to distress. We must learn to distress. Find out things that will cause you to distress. If it has to go to the village to at least 1 weekend to go and eat your mother's konkonte and special light soup with the akosomo mad or catfish, go and eat it, so that we say in a kana me kramra me ho, so you could find yourself in it wholesome. Learn to distress. It's very, very, it could be that risk you must take, that you are always of the phobia that, so what when I leave, what will happen? What if I'm not the one to happen? Because you have created an environment of a team that everything must rise and falls on you. So when you are not there, you are worried, because it wouldn't be done to your specification.
Another situation that tends to confront people who want to be successful in the corporate world is whether to follow the passion or to follow the money. Which habits do successful people within that world adapt to mostly?
You know, the growth mindset, the people who have growth mentality. If you are driven by the money, it gets to a point where you can feel you are exhausted. You can feel you are so exhausted. We remember in this country we have had some people that we would have termed successful committing suicide. Then you ask yourself, so what could be the reason? Sometimes what we term successful did not come with passion. So when they hit the roadblock, instead of them to see it as a stepping stone, because that is the growth mentality. People who are driven by passion sees challenges as stepping stone. People who are driven by other forms of motivation, when they meet what it is, and I said here the last time that whatever you put yourself out there as you claim you are, nature, the environment, and the system will put you to test. It will test that which you claim you say you are. It will be tested. But when the test comes in, it is then that you will see whether it is a learning curve for you or it is a blockade. And it comes from the two perspectives of the motivation you have. What is driving you to do the things you do? That is why it is more important that you must always connect a certain level of satisfaction from your limbic system, stimulate a certain level of joy you want to derive. You have to connect a certain level of satisfaction you want to drive. That is why in corporate training, that's what we call job satisfaction. Joy, it does not come from having the most, not being the most highest paid or having the big fat money in your account. No, it comes with a certain motivation you're looking for. When that customer smiles, it gives me comfort, it gives me joy. When that child, like a teacher, when that child who came from nowhere, the background horrible and everything, passes that exams, I feel satisfied. When that guy brings his car to my mechanic shop, Osman Aban, like the one who fixes my car, when you bring the car to the mechanic shop,
just got a mention on air.
Yes. What is his satisfaction? What is his drive? For him, he's excited to see he called me Master Scoff, to see Master Scoff sitting on TV. That is his joy, that he services his car. So passion. All the people who have done great things on this earth that we call them successful were driven by passion.
As we talk about passion, how should you take criticism when it comes?
I said earlier on, not that whatever you position yourself to be, whatever you profess and confess yourself to be, those things will test you. I was going to talk about this woman, Mother Teresa,
right,
of Calcutta. After passing through the seminary and came out as a nun, the physical hopelessness that she saw in Calcutta, as to be being transferred to anywhere else in the world. But that woman did not look at that Calcutta as a blockade. She saw it as an avenue that she can deploy herself to better the lives of the orphans and the destitute and stuff. Today, in the study of leadership, there is something called servant leadership or steward leadership. The example that is cited in that study of leadership, servant or steward leadership, is Mother Teresa.
Right. But how do you deal with criticism when it comes your way?
It is part and parcel of what you are passionate about. Either you see them as criticism or you see them as cynicism. Whichever we look at them, they are feedbacks. But most often than not, feedbacks are the kind of information that is set to add value to whatever that is happening. But if you keep on giving out information that will cause the person to go into a certain shape of mood, and it takes away energy, you have not given life, you have taken life away from the person. That is the giver. Then the taker too. There are two things. Either you decide to take it personal. There are times it will hit you, it will rock you, it will shatter you, because the person from whom this feedback or this criticism is coming from, you did not expect it. Yes, accept when you break down. Acknowledge that you have broken down because of that feedback. Acknowledge it, because the knowledge and acknowledgement of the criticism in itself gives you the ability to heal again because he who charts the path does not know that the path is crooked behind. So you need people. That is why it is important to go for coaching. Subscribe to a coaching session. It is, because of this criticism, it is very, very important, because it is your coach who can put these things into perspectives, that it becomes things that can rather empower you than to derail you. So if you don't subscribe onto coaching sessions and you think you alone can do it, Sally Kim, let me put this on record. All the most successful people you can mention, they all go for coaching sessions. They all go for coaching. They find time. When we're talking about don't have time, it is some of the things you must prioritize, that you must subscribe. You must subscribe deliberately and purposefully, so that it becomes the space you can go and distress. And
someone gives you a true critique.
Exactly.
What about teamwork? What role does teamwork play in here?
You know, research has proven now there is a subject in one of the courses, leadership and teams. That theme alone has been made stand alone, because the role that teams play in achieving results of companies, organizations, families, anything. One of the things that most budding entrepreneurs face is the lack of the spirit of teamwork. That is why it takes a very long time before they break through, because they cannot entrust anybody with anything. Then it means that you are not working in the arena of people you can trust, so you must shift. Perhaps it is not the problem of the people you meet, it is you who is not shifting to drive into the direction you can meet people, that you can form a team, partnership. That, like I said, if you want to shift, and there are times that you need favors, when you are in a team, we all shoulder each other. That is what team does. You all shoulder each other, because you would have gone through the storming phases, or to have become a formidable team where something drives you, like a team, or like a group with a focus and a target to achieve. So if you are not a team player, no one person have achieved anything great, even though it is the name you hear.
So in other words, don't try to do it all.
You can't do it all. You cannot do it all. That is why you must be able to process your life, your needs, your wants, urgency, desperation, what works, what is not working, finding time, leisure, family, spiritual development, career upgrade. All this goes into making you a team player.
Right. What do you say to the fact that we're told that successful people try to always stay positive?
Sally Kim, positivity is not 1 + 1. It's not logic. To stay positive, it is not 1 + 1. It is not logic. So it is not a cognitive thing that the brain does. It is a feeling. It is a sense of goodwill. It is a sense of an intrinsic expression. And the power of these things, that staying positive in the face of adversity. One of my trainers, Father Michael Lapsley, after he suffered the letter bomb that got his 2 arms off, eye gone, ears and everything, his positivity stemmed out of the love people showed him. To come this far, stemmed out of the fact that people showed him love. So he looked at the love that he has received against he giving up on himself.
Right.
So successful people, even in the face of adversity, still believe that there can be a certain different outcome as well.
Right. Let me begin to read the messages. It says, "Hello Ghana, I'm Raf, watching you live from Belgium. I'm enjoying your programs over here. Keep the good work. Your panelist is superb. Thank you, Raf. Keep tuning in to join us from all the way out there." This one says, "Hello, please, how can I detect my potentials and also manage my time well to achieve my resolutions? Because anytime I plan to manage my time to achieve my resolutions, I find it difficult. Please help. Freeman from Nsawam."
Discipline. Discipline. Priorities. Agency versus desperation. Need. and want. So whatever thing you see playing out, you have contributed, you have given a certain action, you have given a certain mindset. So if you decide to shift, maybe perhaps it is the kind of friends you must let go. It is a kind of certain habit. You don't get along with other people, so people don't want to take a stand for you when you need them most. So all this go into that discipline.
This one says, good afternoon. In Ghana here, when you are earning an income to pursue your dreams, families will be depending on you, which makes you get stuck in the middle of the road. And in the time you realize you are nowhere.
You know. So
having a large community that depends on your income while you try to probably save and go ahead.
Sally Kim, we are not an island. But in life also, you cannot love anyone more than you love yourself. And there's something we say, you can never give something you don't have. You can only give when you have. So if you don't have, perhaps it is communication. You come to the village every time with a big car, come and spend all that big money. When it's time for you to take off that nephew, whose father perhaps helped you to school, and you say you don't have, why are you complaining?
Maybe you really don't have.
Because you have projected perception. Perception. Like I said, whatever you put yourself out there to claim you are, you'll be tested. Maybe that is your test.
Says, good evening, GTV. I'm very interested in your discussion. I like when you say successful people are risk takers. Very true, Apostle Benjamin from Tetegu. Thank you, Apostle, for joining us with your thoughts. And this one says, please, if you are time conscious at your workplace and you realize that your colleagues and your boss are not time conscious, but your colleagues are being promoted and you are where you are, what do you do?
You know, sometimes I don't know his or her scenario, but sometimes we try to play smart. Being punctual does not mean you are proactive. You can be on time every time, yet you don't clear the stuffs on your desk. Yet you don't tango along with your team. So being on time, if being on time culminates into you being proactive and achieving your timelines, I doubt.
So it says, my name is John. I'm glad to watch this show today. I was stressed and down, but hearing your discussion now, I have been motivated. Thanks a lot. We are happy to keep you motivated today. Someone says, hi, I'm enjoying your program. Someone says, I'm learning a lot from this discussion. Kudos. Eli Klim Guba. And we have other messages coming in. Before I get to the other ones, what about the fact that successful people have tried not to wait for the perfect time to do things?
You know, there is something we call times and seasons.
Right.
You realize that we don't only use time, we use seasons. If you understand that the rain might not be full as it is, you make a backup plan of digging a well. So if you are always going to wait for the exact perfect time, it will never come, because every time and season has its own opportunities which you will have to look out for. So when you have a bit of a better planned life, that's why you can say, okay, this I want to go to school. You even want to take seed and still you want to go to school and write your exams. Then, so if you want to wait for, there's not like a perfect time, because you don't control it. You don't control time. You rather is behind time. You rather must chase it, work it out to meet up with it. You don't want time to follow you. It does not work that way. It's against universal law.
So you try and make the opportunity as and
take
when,
it as it comes,
even when it doesn't seem that you have everything ready.
You know, if you want to have, it's just like going into marriage. You can never have everything ready and say you want to go. You want to start marriage. No. You will need to initiate it. If you wait, it never happens. If you wait for the perfect woman or perfect man, you will never meet a perfect man unless you look for an angel. Even our Lucifer was upon a time an angel.
Right. This one says, your dressing is good, madam. Thank you. Says, hi, I'm enjoying your program in DR Congo. How can I be assigned to a coaching session from Patrick in DR Congo?
Patrick, just go on Facebook and look for Scofray Nana Yaoyeboa. Then inbox me or send me an email, scofray@gmail.com.
Okay.
Scofray@gmail.com.
Okay. This one says, I'm still enjoying the show. Okay. All right. I'll read the rest of your message, but I get what you mean. Thank you. Says, good afternoon, I'm Bernard Benya. I believe that to be successful in life is just a choice. You also need to be brave enough to kill the lion with your bare hand. You should be able to move beyond the ordinary things to extraordinary things. Thank you very much, Bernard. As we wrap up, what word would you leave us with? We've talked about a lot.
What I want to say finally is that success is not a destination, it's a process. Where you will think you have arrived, that is when somebody's life also begins. So don't beat yourself up and say, oh, because I did not get this done, it means it's no. Success is a process. It is not a destination. And like somebody requested for a coaching session, I put my email out there.
Right. My
first name, Scofray, SCOFRAY@gmail.com, or you can call me on 0243 085 932. 0243 085 932.
Right.
Let's grow together. Let's develop together. It is possible.
Thank you very much, Scofray, for being on the show. And as we do it, we'll leave you with a quote from Albert Einstein. It says, try not to become a man of success, rather become a man of value, unquote. There's more to success, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Scofray Nana Yaoyeboa has been my guest today, author, transformational coach. We've been looking at habits that facilitate success in the corporate world. My name is Selike Makola Chiapalu. I'd like to thank the entire team for supporting our production, and you, our audience, also for watching. We'll be back to do it again tomorrow.
It's about exposing the vulnerabilities women face.
You have to go to an occasion and people will be like, okay, look at this scary lady coming up. And it was so devastating for me at that time. And I just feel like, okay, if this is how the situation is going to be, then I have to accept myself. I have to embrace what I am.
It's about being ready to speak out for our own rights.
If you see a nice girl,